أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربنا زدنا علما يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلبي على دينك آمين. Today we'll start Surah Nahl. This is a Makki Surah having 128 verses in it. Inshallah, we will complete this Surah in 4 parts. Yes, today we begin this Surah. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most beneficent. Ata amrullahi fala tastajilu subhanahu wa ta'ala amma yushrikun. Allah's command has arrived, so do not seek to hasten it. He is pure and exalted above what they associate as partners to Him. ينزل الملائكة بالروح من أمره على من يشاء من عباده أن أنذروا أنه لا إله إلا أنا فاتقون. He sends the angels with the revelation of his commands to those bondsmen of his whom he desires. The revelation is one that there is no deity besides myself, so fear me. خلق السماوات والأرض بالحق تعالى عما يشركون. 3. He created the heavens and the earth with truth. He is exalted above the partners that they associate with him. خلق الإنسان من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين. He created man from a drop of fluid, yet man is suddenly an open opponent. Surah Nahl discusses mostly the oneness of Allah and offers proof for it. It also discusses Allah's bounties and mentions the bee called the Nahl in Arabic, verses 68 till 69. It is from this that the surah derives its name. In the opening verse, Allah says, Allah's command has arrived, so do not seek to hasten it. When the mushrikeen were presented with the message of Islam and warned of the consequence of shirk, they laughed it off as a mere threat. They asked why was the punishment not coming. They also said the same about Qiyamah. In the above verse, Allah informs them that the advent of His command, that is, His punishment and Qiyamah, is so certain that it will not be far fetched to say that it has already arrived. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Qiyamah and myself have been sent like these two fingers. Saying this, he indicated his index and middle finger. This means that the two are as close as two fingers are. The middle finger is only slightly longer than the index, narrated by Bukhari. The mushrikeen refused to believe this and were foolish enough to even pray for Qiyamah and punishment. Malumat-e-Tanzil, Volume 2, page 61, has reported that Nazar bin Haris made the statement, O Allah, if this Islam really is the truth from you, then show on us stones from the skies, or afflict us with a painful punishment. As a result of this absurd request, he was killed along with fellow mushrikeen at Badr. He is pure and exalted above what they associate as partners to him. In this portion of the verse, Allah inaugurates himself from all the partners that the mushrikeen associate with him. He sends the angel, that is Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam, with the revelation of his commands to those bondsmen of his whom he derives. The revelation is one that there is no deity besides myself, so fear me, that is, fear my punishment if you do not accept the message. Thereafter, Allah says, He created the heavens and the earth with truth. The commentary of this has been given under verse 85 of Surah Hijr, Then Allah reiterates He is exalted above that partners that they associate with Him. He created man from a drop of fluid, yet man is suddenly an open opponent, not realizing that he was created from a drop of sperm. Man becomes bold enough to argue and altercate against even the commands of Allah. Allah says in Surah Yasin, has man not seen that we created him from a seed, after which he is suddenly an open adversary? He coins similitudes for us and forgets how he was created. He says, who will give life to bones after they have decomposed? Verses 77 and 78. Malumat-e-Tanzil, Volume 2, page 62, reports that the Mushrikeen Ubay bin Ka'b once brought a decayed bone to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asked, do you say that Allah will revive this bone after it has decomposed? The above verse was revealed in reply to this statement. Whatever the circumstances for its revelation, the verse is general in its reference to all kuffar and mushrikeen who debate about Allah's deen. The Quran mentions many of these arguments and replies to all of them. Even worse than their contentions are those that certain so-called Muslims make. They speak absurd remarks, asking why is Shaitan pursuing man and why should they be punished for their sins when fate has already been predestined. Others ask why should they worship Allah when He does not require their worship. These people should examine their iman since they are objecting to the system of Allah. Such objections lead one to kufr. Verse number 5 till 8. وَالْأَنْعَامَ خَلَقَهَا لَكُمْ فِيهَا دِفْءٌ وَمَنَافِعٌ وَمِنْهَا تَأْكُلُونَ. And He created the animals for you. In them is warmth for you, many other benefits, and you even eat of them. وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا جَمَالٌ فِيهِنَا تُرِيحُونَ وَهِينَ تُسْرَحُونَ. In them is beauty for you when you return them in the evening and when you send them out in the morning. وَتَحْمِلُوا أَثْقَالَكُمْ إِلَىٰ بَلَدٍ لَمْ تَكُونُوا بَالِغِيهِ إِلَّا بِشِقِّ الْأَنفُسِ إِنَّ رَبَّكُمْ لَرَءُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. And they carry your burdens to such destination that you could not reach without great difficulty to yourself. Without doubt, your Rabb is the most pardoning, most merciful. وَالْخَيْلَ وَالْبِغَالَ وَالْحَمِيرِ لِتَرْكَبُوهَا وَزِينَةً وَيَخْلُقُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Horses, mules, and donkeys are for riding and adornment, and He creates such things about which you have no knowledge. Of the numerous bounties that Allah has created for man are domestic animals which afford man innumerable benefits as Allah mentioned in the foregoing verses. Allah firstly mentions that their skins and hide provide warmth for man against the cold. Man acquired leather and wool from these animals, using them for his clothing and bedding. He also uses the hiding of animals to make tents, as will be mentioned in verse 80 of this surah. Another great benefit that they give to man is in their meat that he eats. In the next verse, Allah says, in them is bounty for you when you return them in the evening from the grazing field. When you send them out in the morning, only the owner of a large herd of animals will know the joy of satisfaction he experiences. When he observes his animals being taken to the fields daily, he cannot contain his emotions to see them grazing, producing milk, and reproducing. Thereafter, Allah mentions yet another great benefit of these animals. He says, and they carry your burden to such destination that you could not reach without great difficulty to yourself. Through His infinite mercy and compassion, Allah has created these animals to transport man's goods to distant lands, without which he could be at a total loss. Without doubt, your Rabb is the most pardoning, most merciful. Allah then speaks of the riding animals when He says horses, mules, and donkeys are for riding and adornment. The mules and donkeys are also used for transporting loads. Allah says in Surah Zukhruf, Allah who created all pairs and made ships and animals which you ride, that you may be seated on their back. Then recall the bounty of your Rabb when you mount and say, Pure is Allah, who has subjugated this for us, whereas we could never have been able to control it, and our return shall certainly be to our Rabb. A person truly appreciates this control granted by Allah only when an animal becomes stubborn and uncontrollable. Allah says in Surah Yasin, do they not see that from our hands' work we have created animals for them, which they are masters of? We place these animals at their service. So some of them are their means of transport, while they eat of some from these animals they derived many benefits and drinks. Are they not grateful? Verse number 71, 73. These verses only mention a few of the benefits to be derived from animals. The above verse of Surah Yasin as well as verse 66 of Surah Nahl make mention of the milk that man derives from these animals. Allah causes it to emerge from between the impurities of blood and flesh. Man also benefits from the hides and bones of these animals. Nowadays, their limbs and organs are used even for transplant purposes in medical surgery. Allah also mentions, and He creates such things about which you have no knowledge. This verse includes all things that are still to be created by Allah until the day of judgment. Certain commentators have mentioned that this verse also refers to the modern means of transportation used nowadays. Allah has perfect knowledge of all of these. Verse number 9. وَعَلَى اللَّهِ قَصْدُ السَّبِيلِ وَمِنْهَ جَائِرٌ وَلَوْ شَاءَ لَهَدَاكُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. The straight path leads to Allah, and there are those people who deviate from it. If He wills, He could guide all of you collectively. The verse states that the person who treats the straight path of Islam will attain Allah's pleasure, whereas all other paths will deviate one from Allah. If He wills, He could guide all of you collectively. Allah has placed guidelines and proofs for all to observe and from which to draw conclusions. Those who ponder over these will be guided to the straight path, but those who are negligent will remain deviant. Other commentators have interpreted this verse to mean that if Allah willed, He could have forced everyone to be Muslims. However, His wisdom dictated otherwise. Therefore, each will be guided according to his efforts at understanding. The straight path leads to Allah. Certain commentators have translated this verse to mean that Allah has assumed the responsibility of guiding towards the straight path. For this reason, He has sent the Anbiya alayhi salam and the divine scriptures. He will not punish any person until He has shown him the truth. Narrated by Malumat-e-Tanzil, Volume 3, page 63. Now I'll recite from verse number 10 till 16. هو الذي أنزل من السماء ماء لكم منه شراب ومنه شجر فيه تسيمون. Allah is the one who sends rain for you from the sky, which provides drinking water and vegetation on which you graze your animals. 11. ينبت لكم به الزرع والزيتون والنخيل والأعناب ومن كل الثمرات إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون. With it, the rain, Allah grows for your plantation, olives, dates, grapes, and all types of fruit. Undoubtedly, there is a sign in this for those who reflect. 12. وسخر لكم الليل والنهار والشمس والقمر والنجوم مسخرة بأمري إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يعقلون. He placed the night and the day of your service, and the sun and the moon as well. The stars are also in servitude by his command. Indeed, there are signs in this for people of understanding. وما زرع لكم في الأرض مختلفا ألوانه إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يذكرون. And the things that he has created for you upon the earth have various colors. Surely there is a sign in this for people who take heed. 14. وهو الذي سخر البحر لتأكلوا منه لحما طريا وتستخرجوا منه هلية تلبسونها وترى الفلك مواخر فيه ولتبتغوا من فضله ولعلكم تشكرون. It is he who subjugated the ocean so that you may eat fresh meat from it and extract jewels that you wear. You see the ships cleaving their ways on it so that you may seek from his bounty and show gratitude to him. 15. وألقى في الأرض رواسي أن تميد بكم وأنهار وسبلا لعلكم تهتدون. He cast mountains upon the earth so that it does not shake with you, and placed rivers and roads on earth so that you be guided. وعلامات وعلامات بالنجوم هم يهتدون. 16. And he placed on earth signs, and they are guided by the stars. Allah has described many signs in this surah. Coincidentally, mention was also made of those who accept the message of Iman and treat the straight path, as opposed to those who do not. The above verses cite some more proofs of Allah's grandeur. The first of these is the rain. Allah says, Allah is the one who sends rain for you from the sky, which provides drinking water and vegetation on which you graze your animals. The rain provides clean, unsalted water that is fit for human consumption. The same water is also used to grow vegetation, which sustain man and the animals. In addition to this, with it the rain Allah grows for you plantation, olives, dates, grapes, and all types of fruit. Undoubtedly, there is a sign in this for those who reflect. The second sign mentioned by Allah is that He placed the night and the day at your service. Man is able to rest at night and work by day. The third sign mentioned as the subjugation of the sun and the moon as well. The heat of the sun serves to warm the earth and allows plants to grow. Besides this, there are innumerable other benefits that the sun provides to create at large. The moon serves to provide light at night and guides travels on their way. The fourth sign mentioned by Allah is that of the stars. Allah says, the stars are also in servitude by His command. For millions of years, the stars have mentioned their orbit according to Allah's decree, without wavering in the least. They have no means to propel themselves but travel by the power of Allah alone. After mentioning these few signs, Allah says, indeed, there are the signs in this for people of understanding. Thereafter, Allah mentioned a fifth sign, saying, and the things that He has created for you upon the earth have various colors. Another translation of the verse is that Allah has created things of different types on earth. These all these will include every creation of Allah upon the earth. They are all placed on earth for the service of man. They are used to feed him, to construct his homes, cure his diseases, etc., etc. Thereafter, Allah reminds man more once again, surely there is a sign in this for people who take heed. Continuing with the with the sixth sign. Allah says, "It is He who subjugated the ocean." In this one bounty alone, Allah mentions three benefits for men. These are so that you may eat fresh meat from it. This refers to the fish and multitude of other creation that man is allowed to eat from the seas. Man can extract jewels that you wear. Allah says in Surah Rahman that from the seas pearls and corals emerges. 3. You see the ships cleaving their way on it so that you may seek from His bounty and show gratitude to Him. These ships, large and small, wind and fuel driven, are used to transport men and merchandise across the world. Man is obliged to express his gratitude to Allah for all of this, but he is negligent and thoughtless. While willing his time away in trivial pursuits. The seventh bounty recounted by Allah is that He cast mountains upon the earth so that it does not shake with you. Man is weak and will not be able to live on earth if it continues to shake and shudder. Because of His infinite mercy, Allah has placed the mountains as pegs to stabilize the earth so that man is able to live peacefully. One can well imagine the chaos and panic that will be caused if these pegs are removed to cause earthquakes on an international basis. The earthquakes experienced by man are confined to certain areas and do not mean that the mountains are not performing their function. The eighth sign mentioned by Allah is that of rivers. Allah has placed them on earth to provide man and beast with an abundance of good. They provide drinking water, water for irrigation, and numerous other uses. The benefit of these can be seen from the great rivers of the world that men depend on for their very existence. The ninth sign that Allah mentions is that of the roads that He has created. These are found on plains, in mountains, at sea, and in the air. Surah Nuh mentions Allah made the earth a carpet for you so that you may traverse upon the wide roads. If it were not for these roads, people would be lost on their journeys. Therefore, Allah says, and placed rivers and roads on earth so that you may be guided. In addition to this, Allah says, and He placed on earth signs. Each road has certain signs that mark them, that is, a certain tree or mountain, etc. The tenth sign is mentioned by Allah when He says, and they are guided by the stars. Navigators determine their direction by the stars. Now I'll recite from verse number 17 till 21. Afaman yakhluqu kaman la yakhluq afala tadhakkarun. Is he who cannot create like him? Who can create? Will you not take heed? وَإِن تَعَدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تَحْصُوهَا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَغَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. If you attempt to enumerate Allah's bounty, you will never be able to do so. Verily, Allah is the most forgiving, the most merciful. Wallahu ya'lamu ma tusirruna wa ma tu'linun. Allah knows what you conceal and what you make apparent. وَالَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ لَا يَخْلُقُونَ شَيْئًا وَهُمْ يُخْلَقُونَ. Those that you call upon besides Allah cannot create anything, but they have been created. Amwatun ghayru ahya'in wa ma yash'uruna ayyana yub'asun. They are dead without any life. They do not even know when they will be raised. The previous verses have expounded Allah's creation as sign of His power. All things past, present, and future are Allah's creation, while the God worshipped by the mushrikeen and the kuffar cannot create anything. Allah says in Surah Luqman, this is Allah's creation. So show me what those besides Him have created. But the oppressors are in a distant deviation, verse number 11. Expressing the foolishness of the mushrikeen, Allah says, is he who cannot create like him? Who can create? Will you not take heed? Allah then says, if you attempt to enumerate Allah's bounty, you will never be able to do so. Verily, Allah is the most forgiving, the most merciful. Allah has granted man all his faculties, especially that of intelligence. This he should utilize to recognize Allah by observing His signs. In return for all these bounties, man should at least show gratitude to Allah and worship only Him. Through His grace, Allah even provides these bounties for the kuffar and the mushrikeen. Other commentators have interpreted the verse to mean that none can truly thank Allah sufficiently for all the bounties conferred by Allah. However, Allah is most forgiving and most merciful and will overlook this deficiency in man. He will forgive all sins and reward a person for every iota of good that he does. Allah knows what you conceal and what you make apparent. Those people who do not show gratitude to Allah and continue to perpetrate evil should not think that they can escape Allah for forever when He does not punish them in this world. Allah then says, those that you call upon besides Allah cannot create anything, but they have been created. The creation is not worthy of being worshipped. Further describing them, Allah says, they are dead without any life. They do not even know when they will be raised. The greatest bounty of Jannah will be realized only when people are resurrected after death. However, these false gods are unable to inform when this will take place, let alone being of any assistance then. The knowledge of Qiyamah is also with Allah. Verse number 22 till 25. إلهكم إله واحد والذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة قلوبهم منكرة وهم يستكبرون. Your deity is that one deity. The hearts of those who disbelieve in the hereafter are reluctant and they are haughty. لا جرم أن الله يعلم ما تسرون وما يعلنون إنه لا يحب المستكبرين. Without any doubt, Allah knows what they conceal and what they reveal. Indeed, He does not love the proud ones. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُم مَاذَا أَنزَلَ رَبُّكُمْ قَالُوا أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. When they are asked, what has your Rabb revealed? They reply, tales of the old people. لِيَحْمِلُوا أَوْزَارَهُمْ كَامِلَةً يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَمِنْ أَوْزَارِ الَّذِينَ يُضِلُّونَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ أَلَا سَاءَ مَا يَزِرُونَ. 25. So that they may carry their entire burdens on the day of Qiyamah together with the burdens of those whom they mislead without knowledge. Evil indeed is the burden that they bear. After refuting the false gods of Mushrikeen, Allah declares, your deity is but one deity, therefore only He should be worshipped. The hearts of those who disbelieve in the hereafter are reluctant to believe and they are haughty. Their pride prevents them from accepting the truth. Without any doubt, Allah knows what they conceal and what they reveal. Indeed, He does not love the proud ones. Allah shall punish the kuffar for the wrong beliefs so that they hold, even though they do not express these to anyone. Allah continues, when they are asked, what has your Rabb revealed? They reply, tales of the old people. Narrated by Malumat Tanzil, has reported that this verse was revealed with reference to the mushrikeen of Makkah. They stood by the roads leading to Makkah, and whenever the arriving pilgrims would ask, that was revealed by Allah to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They would say that these were nothing but tales of the old folk. In this manner, they attempted to mislead others as well. For this reason, Allah says that they do this, so that they may carry their entire burdens on the day of Qiyamah together with the burdens of those whom they mislead without knowledge. Evil indeed is the burden that they bear. They will suffer for their own sins as well as for the sins of the people they mislead. Allah says in Surah An-Kabut, they will certainly carry their own burdens in addition to those of others, and they will definitely be questioned about what they are fabricated. Verse number 13. Now I will recite verse number 26, 7 and 28, 29. Yes, four verses. قد مكر الذين من قبلهم فآتى الله بنيانهم من القواعد فخر عليهم سقف من فوقهم وآتاهم العذاب من حيث لا يشعرون. Those before them certainly plotted, but Allah demolished their building from the foundation, causing the roof to cave in on them from above, and the punishment came to them from whence they could not perceive. ثم يوم القيامة يخزيهم ويقول أين شركائي الذين كنتم تشاكون فيهم قال الذين أوتوا العلم إن الخزي اليوم وسوء على الكافرين. Then he shall humiliate them on the day of Qiyamah and ask, where are those partners of mine that you used to argue about? Those who are granted knowledge will say, today humiliation and misfortune are certainly upon the disbelievers. الذين تتوافاهم الملائكة ظالمي أنفسهم فألقوا السلم ما كنا نأمل من سوء بلى إن الله عليم بما كنتم تعملون. 28. Those whose souls are claimed by the angels while they oppress themselves, they will then propose a truce saying, we never perpetrated any evil. Nay, Allah is well aware of what you used to do. فادخلوا أبواب جهنم خالدين فيها فلبئس مثوى المتكبرين. Enter the doors of Jahannam to abide therein forever. Evil indeed is the abode of the proud ones. Referring to the evil plot of the mushrikeen against Islam and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah says, those before them certainly plotted, but as if their plots were a building. Allah demolished their building from the foundation, causing the roof to cave in on them from above, and the punishment came to them from whence they could not perceive. This verse is in general in its context and does not refer to any specific nation only. However, Ibn Kathir, the author of Ruhul Mani and the author of Malumat al-Tanzil, have all reported from Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu that the verse referred to Namrud. He was the king of Babylon and constructed a palace that measured 5,000 arm lengths in height and 3,000 in width. He intended to reach the heavens, learn of the happenings there, and fight all those present there. Allah sent a wind that raised the building to the ground, crushing Nimrud and all his accomplices with him. According to other narration, Namrud survived but was later destroyed by a mosquito that Allah caused to reach his brain. Ibn Kathir has also mentioned that this verse refers to the Kuffar king Bakhtasar, who built a palace like the one described above. All these narrations have their sources from the Bani Israel. If they have any truth, they will resemble the statement of Pharaoh when he instructed his wazir, saying, O Haman, build a tower for me so that I may reach the roads of the heavens, so that I can have a close look at the deity of Musa. I strongly feel that he is a liar. His plan failed and Haman was also destroyed. Referring to the previous nations, Allah says in Surah Fajr, Allah rained the whip of punishment on them. Verse number 13. After inflicting the punishment on them, Allah says, then he shall humiliate them on the day of Qiyamah and ask, where are those partners of mine that you used to argue about? Those who are granted knowledge will say, today humiliation and misfortune are certainly upon the disbelievers. those whose souls are claimed by the angels while they oppressed themselves. These people lived and died as kuffar. The kuffar will seek to escape from Jahannam and will call for intercessors. They will also plead to Allah to return them to this world so that they may do good deeds. At times they will also deny their crimes. Allah refers to this when He says, they will then purpose a truce, saying, we never perpetrated any evil. Their plea is referred to be as a truce because a truce is normally proposed to alleviate a difficulty. In reply to this their plea, Allah will say, nay, Allah is well aware of what you used to do. When they will then be commanded, enter the doors of Jahannam to abide therein forever. Evil indeed is the abode of the proud ones. Verse number 30. 31 and 32. وَقِيلَ لِلَّذِينَ اتَّقُوا مَاذَا أَنزَلَ رَبُّكُمْ قَالُوا خَيْرًا لِلَّذِينَ أَحْسَنُوا فِي هَذِهِ الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةٌ وَلَدَارُ الْآخِرَةِ خَيْرٌ وَلَنِعْمَ الدَّارُ الْمُتَّقِينَ. 30. Those who abstained from kufr and shirk are asked, what has your Rabb revealed? They reply, extreme good. There shall be goodness for those who did good works in this world, and the home of the hereafter is certainly best. How grand is the home of the pious! Jannatu adnin yadkhulunaha tajri min tahtiha al-anharu lahum fiha ma yasha'un kadhalika yajzillahu al-muttaqin. They shall enter gardens of eternity beneath which rivers flow. There they shall have whatever they desire. In this manner does Allah reward those who adopt taqwa. الذين تتوفاهم الملائكة طيبين يقولون سلام عليكم سلام عليكم ادخلوا الجنة بما كنتم تعملون. Those 32. Those whose souls are angels claim while they are pure, they say, peace be upon you, enter Jannah because of the deeds that you performed. The above verses speak about the opposite of the previous verses. In these verses, Allah describes the condition of the pious people in the hereafter. Allah says that they will enter gardens of eternity beneath which rivers flow. There they shall have whatever they desire. Allah says in Surah Zukhruf, in Jannah there shall be whatever the hearts desire and whatever pleases the eye. In this manner, does Allah reward those who adopt taqwa? Taqwa means performing all good deeds and abstaining from all evil. Allah then describes the death of the people who adopt taqwa. Allah says that they are those whose souls are angels claim while they are pure. Their hearts are all free of kufr and shirk, being illuminated with the light of Iman and decorated with good deeds, treating them with honor. The angels will say to them, peace be upon you, enter Jannah because of the deeds that you performed. Although they will enter Jannah only after Qiyamah, the angels will give them the glad tidings of their entry to Jannah at the time of their deaths. Verse 24 above speaks about the kuffar when they are asked, what has your Rabb revealed? They replied, tales of the old people. Now Allah speaks of the pious people in the same light when He says, those who abstain from kufr and shirk are asked, what has your Rabb revealed? They reply, extreme good. Commentators have mentioned that the two verses were revealed because of the same circumstances as mentioned in the commentary of the first verse. A similar narration also placed in the commentary of verse 90 of Surah Hijr, where Allah says, as we have revealed to the dividers. The mushrikeen of Makkah stood by the roads leading to Makkah, and whenever the arriving pilgrims would ask what was revealed by Allah to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they would say that these were nothing but tales of the old folk. However, when these pilgrims posed the same question to the mu'mineen, they would reply that Allah had revealed extreme good and virtue. Hearing this, they would be satisfied and return with the good news to their tribes. Verse number 33. هل ينظرون إلا أن تأتيهم الملائكة أو يأتي أمر ربك كذلك فعل الذين من قبلهم وما ظلمهم الله ولكن كانوا أنفسهم يظلمون. They are waiting only for angels to come to them or for the order of their Rabb to come. Those before them behaved in the same way. Allah did not oppress them, but they oppressed themselves. فأصابهم سيئات ما عملوا وحاق بهم ما كانوا به يستهزئون. So they received the punishment of their evil deeds and their mockery engulfed them. 34. The kuffar refused to accept the clear and apparent proofs that were presented to them. It seemed that they were waiting for some extraordinary event to convince them. Allah says they are waiting only for angels to come to them or for the order of their Rabb to come. That is, they are awaiting their deaths. However, Iman will not be accepted then. Allah continues to say, those before them behaved in the same way. They also remain adamantly upon kufr until Allah destroyed them. Allah says, Allah did not oppress them, but they oppressed themselves. So they received the punishment of their evil deeds and their mockery engulfed them. A similar verse is found in Surah Baqarah where Allah says, they await Allah and the angels to come to them beneath the shadows of the clouds, and all the matters are decided. All matters return unto Allah. Verse 210. Allah says in Surah An-Nahl, they wait only for the angels to come to them, or for your Rabb to come, or for some signs of your Rabb to appear. The day when one of the Rabb's sign will appear, the belief, Iman of a person will not benefit him if he had not believed previously or carried out any good in his belief. Say, keep waiting, we are also waiting. Verse number 158. Now I'll recite verse number 35, 36, and 37. وقال الذين أشركوا لو شاء الله ما عبدنا من دونه من شيء نحن ولا آباؤنا ولا حرمنا من دونه من شيء كذلك فعل الذين من قبلهم فهل على الرسل إلا البلاغ المبين. 35. The idolaters say, if Allah willed, then neither us nor our forefathers would have worshipped anything besides Him, and we would never have forbidden anything without Him. Those before them behaved in the same manner. The responsibility of the messengers is only clear propagation. ولقد بعثنا من كل أمة رسولا أن اعبدوا الله واجتنبوا الطاغوت فمنهم من هدى الله ومنهم من حقت عليه الضلالة فسيروا في الأرض فانظر كيف كان عاقبة المكذبين. Indeed, we have sent a messenger among every nation who told them that worship Allah and shun the shaitan. There were those of them whom Allah had guided and those of whom deviation had been decreed. So travel in the land and see what was the consequence of those who denied. تحرص على هداهم فإن الله لا يهدي من يضل وما لهم من الناصرين. 37. If you are desirous of their guidance, then Allah surely does not guide those whom He has sent astray, and they shall have no helpers. When the mushrikeen were presented with the message of Iman, they would challenge the Nabi salam to reply to their argument. They said that since everything occurred with Allah's will, their shirk and evil must also be desired by Allah, if He had willed it all along. They deduced from this that their action must be correct for if it were not pleasing to Allah. It would have been it would sorry he would not have granted them the ability to carry them out. A similar contention has been discussed in verse 148 of Surah An-Nahl. There Allah says, soon those who commit shirk will say, if Allah's will, neither we nor our forefathers would have been committed shirk, and we would have not forbidden anything. In the same manner, those before them had denied until they tasted our punishment. Say, have you any knowledge that you may disclose for us, or only follow conjure, conjure, and I'm not pronouncing it correctly. The spellings are Congecture and speculation. Although nothing can occur without Allah's permission, this does not mean that He is pleased with the action that He allowed man to do. Granting man the ability to perform an act will not indicate that Allah likes the act. Allah has granted man this life on earth to test whom of you perform the best deeds. It is for this reason that Allah allows man to choose of deeds. When he chooses which course of action to take, Allah grant him the ability to perform the deeds of his choice. If people were forced to perform certain actions, there would not have been any test for man at all. Those before them behaved in the same manner. The responsibility of the messengers is only clear propagation. Allah sent the Anbiya alayhi salam to guide man and to show him what is required from him. However, many people choose not to respond to the preaching of the Anbiya alayhi salam. They adhered to their practices of shirk and resorted to arguing with the Anbiya alayhi salam as mentioned above. Indeed, we have sent a messenger among every nation who told them that worship Allah and shun the shaitan. After the Anbiya alayhi salam had passed on the message, people were divided into two groups. These were, as Allah mentions, those of them whom Allah had guided and those for whom deviation had been decreed. These people refused to accept the message of the Anbiya alayhi salam. As a result, they were destroyed. Therefore, Allah says, so travel in the land and see what was the consequence of those who denied. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had the fervent desire in his heart that all of mankind accept his message. However, Allah did not will this to happen for reasons that conform to his perfect wisdom. For this reason, Allah informs Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you are the desirous of their guidance, then Allah surely does not guide those whom He has sent astray, and they will shall have no helpers against Allah's punishment in the hereafter. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.